Hi there, I'm still sick, so I'm going to keep the talking part kind of short and just get to the point. So I'm making this goulash and I have the ground beef all browned up and cooked and drained, and so I'm adding my tomato products next. I then am putting in some garlic and I'm using some water because I'm going to need that to thin down the tomato sauce and get the very remainder of the minced garlic out of the jar. I added a jar of diced tomatoes, a can of tomato sauce, and some Rotel. And I also am using a partial jar of salsa. I am using up some leftover products that were in my fridge just to get them used up and gone. I always use the same basic seasonings in my goulash, such as garlic, onion powder, salt, pepper, and some cayenne and some crushed red pepper. Most times I go pretty sparingly on the spicy stuff just to give it a little bit of a kick, but this time I really wanted to amp up the spice because I am sick and dealing with a sinus issue, and so I added a little extra cayenne and a little extra crushed red pepper just because I'm trying to fight this cold, and for me, with a sinus infection, the spicy food helps so much. I know some people don't like to eat at all when they're sick or congested, but for me, bring on the comfort food, and goulash is a comfort food in our house. And after I get all the seasonings in, you will see that I am going to put the uncooked macaroni right into the pot. That was the reason for adding extra water, and I'm going to add a little bit more to this before I put the lid on. And I'm going to put the noodles right in this pan so that they can soak up that extra liquid that I'm going to add. Put the lid on and simmer, and then I'll just be coming back periodically to lift the lid and give it a stir because you don't want those noodles to stick to the bottom. And at the very end, I'm going to warm up the uh, cheese dip in the microwave just to get it nice and melty and pourable, and then I'll mix that right in. That's a step I normally don't use in goulash, is adding cheese sauce, but since it was just sitting there in the fridge with nowhere to go, I just figured that it would be okay in this goulash, and my husband really liked it a lot. On this day, it was served as a lunch, and that's an uncommon thing also, but we don't mind having leftovers of goulash since it is a favorite of everybody's in the house. So I knew eventually it would get used for more lunches as the kids come and go and that kind of thing. Right here is where you could stop if you don't want to trash up your goulash with the cheese whiz. But if you're in the mood for something different like we were, then here is where I add the melted cheese into the goulash. But I just wanted to show you how good that looks. And it does have some of the peppers from the rotel in it to give it a little color, which I like. I didn't have any other peppers, and I'm such a maniac. I'm using my sleeve as a pot holder to get my cheese out of the microwave, trying to cook with one hand and hold my phone and hold melted cheese. Yeah, that's fun. Takes a little bit of talent, I must say. And I've added the liquid gold, and at this point, Bill said that it tasted like some kind of hamburger helper or something. And we decided that it definitely kind of changed it from goulash, and it definitely wasn't hamburger helper. It was good all on its own, but I don't exactly know what I would call this if I had to give this pot of name. So I'm sticking with goulash because that's the basic of it, and I don't know, maybe it is more of a homemade hamburger helper, but ours was really super spicy and it was really good on this cold day. It was just a different cheesy kind of goulash. And here I am in my comfy station or my sick spot in the recliner with my mug of goulash, my tissues, my cough drops, and my water bottle. And this is where I spent most of the day on Saturday, just kind of chilling out and taking naps and watching movies and just trying to feel better. This goulash was really spicy and it did exactly what I wanted it to by loosening up the congestion. If you don't want spicy, just don't put the peppers in it.
Last year I thought about how things can come around just like that if everyone is here to celebrate one day. We have our ups and downs, but when there's love there's always a way. And oh, this time of year we come together to celebrate. Yes, every time the snow is falling down and it is cold outside, we gather around the fireplace and no one cares about yesterday. My favorite holiday, it means so much more than words can say. And I claim that Christmas is a magic day. Sometimes I tend to forget what glory this holiday represents, but it's fair to say that Christmas is a magic day. This year I'll think about how I'm so lucky to have a place that I can come home to. Yes, I am on my way. We'll put our differences aside and just enjoy this moment of peace and love and happiness. We come together to celebrate. Yes, every time the snow is falling down and it is cold outside, we gather around the fireplace and no one cares about yesterday. My favorite holiday, it means so much more than words can say. And I claim that Christmas is a magic day. Sometimes I tend to forget what glory this holiday represents, but it's fair to say that Christmas is a magic day. Yes, every time the snow is falling down and it is cold outside, we gather around the fireplace and no about yesterday. My favorite holiday. It means so much more than words can say. And I claim Christmas is a magic day. Sometimes I tend to forget what glory this holiday represents. But it's fair to say that Christmas is a magic day.
It was just the two of us home on this day, but the boys did eventually come home and have dinner. And really, all I did for dinner was get up out of my recliner and go into the kitchen, although I didn't need to because Bill did volunteer to make everything, but I wanted to do something, and so I put together these potatoes, Brussels sprouts, and butternut squash. It was so good. He made the steaks. They were yummy, and we did end up having some horseradish on our steak too. That was really good. We ended up watching several movies and just staying home by ourselves. Bill did buy me a Christmas tree from the gas station. I guess this is sort of a date night at home with a sick spouse. Of course, I made several trips back to the hot cocoa bar for cappuccino and hot chocolate just to help with my sore throat, you know. Christmas calories don't count. As always, thank you so much for watching.